There is a clay pot sitting in the shade behind my house right now. It holds rainwater, a handful of fallen leaves, and one small spoonful of a gray powder I bought for the price of a bowl of noodles. Every mosquito within 100 paces of my door is flying toward that pot at this very moment to lay her eggs. And every egg she leaves there will be dead before tomorrow evening. It will not harm the bees that visit my wife's garden. It will not harm the dragonflies, the small frogs in the rice channel, the neighbor's cat, or the grandchildren who run barefoot across my yard at dusk. It kills one thing, and only one thing. My name is Kenji Takara. I am 81 years old, and I have lived my whole life on the island of Okinawa, in the south of Japan. I have not been bitten by a mosquito at my own table in many, many years. I have no electric machine. No man comes to spray my yard with poison. No company sends me a bill. What I have is a pot, a spoonful of powder, and something my grandmother taught me when I was a boy small enough to sit on her knee. I am going to show you exactly what I do, in the order I do it, with what it costs, and where to place it. And then I am going to tell you the part that should trouble you a little, which is that the pest control companies in your country have known about this powder for 40 years. Most of them will still spray your yard with something that kills the honeybee right alongside the mosquito, because the Safeway does not refill itself every month at a fee. Stay with me, and by the end, you will know how to clear the mosquitoes from your own property this weekend, for less than the cost of a single visit from one of those trucks. Quick word before I begin, and I won't bring it up again. Everything I share here, there's far more of it than fits in one video, so I gathered it all into one book, The Takara Method, and right now I'm keeping it at a special price, lower than it'll normally be. The link's in the description, or point your phone at the code on screen. That's all. Now let me show you today's. Let me begin with what most people get wrong, because if you do not understand this, nothing else will work. Mosquitoes do not come from the air. They do not drift in from the woods or blow across from a neighbor's pond. Every mosquito biting you in your own yard was born in your own yard, in water, in still water, and not very much of it. A bottle cap of water resting in the fold of an old tarp is enough. A clogged gutter holding half a cup of rain for 4 days is enough. The little saucer beneath your flower pot is enough. A single female lays her eggs in less water than you can cradle in your 2 hands. That is the whole secret right there. If you let still water sit on your property for more than 4 days, you are running a mosquito nursery. If you remove it, or, and this is the part to remember, if you treat it so the eggs cannot hatch, you have ended the problem at its root, before a single mosquito ever grows wings. This is what we have always done. My grandfather walked our small property every week in the summer with an empty tin can, and he tipped out every saucer, every bucket, every hollow that had caught water. He did not chase the mosquito through the air after it had already found his face. He ended it in the water, where it begins. The Western way is to kill the insect after it has bitten you. Our way is to make sure it is never born. One way takes an hour a month. The other takes a monthly bill and a yard that smells of chemicals. So here is the first thing I want you to do this weekend. You will need 3 simple things. A dark-colored container, a pot, a pail, a deep bowl in brown or black, not white. I will tell you why the color matters in a moment. and it matters more than you would think. A few handfuls of grass clippings or dead leaves, and one container of something the hardware store sells as mosquito bits. You will find them in the garden section, sometimes near the pond supplies. They cost around $17, and that one container will last your household the entire summer. Set the container somewhere out of the way, behind a shed, beneath a hedge, away from where you sit and eat. You want the mosquitoes drawn away from you, not toward you. Fill it halfway with water. Rainwater is best, but tap water will do. Then toss in your grass clippings and dead leaves, just enough to make the water look a little dirty, a little swampy. And now comes the reason for the dark container. The reason this works when an ordinary bucket sitting in the sun does nothing at all. A female mosquito, when she is searching for a place to leave her eggs, is hunting for water that looks like the dark, shaded, still pools where her kind has lived for millions of years. A bright white pail standing in full sun does not look like home to her. A dark pot resting in the shade, with leaves softening in the water, that looks like the safest cradle in the world. The color and the shade are not small details. They are the difference between a trap she ignores and a trap she cannot resist. The grass clippings do the rest. As those leaves and clippings break down, they release into the water the same scent that decaying plants release at the edge of a real pond, the smell that tells a mother mosquito, "This is a good place, leave your young here." You are not making a swamp. You are making a counterfeit of one, the most tempting piece of land on your whole property as far as she is concerned. Now, here is the step that turns that counterfeit pool into a graveyard. Take one heaping spoonful of the mosquito bits and scatter it across the surface of the water. That is all. Do not stir. Do not measure carefully. One spoonful floating on top. What you have just placed in that water is something called BTI. Its full name is a mouthful of Latin that I will not trouble you with. It is not a chemical poison. It is a bacterium, a living thing that exists naturally in soil all over the world. It was first discovered in a desert pond, and what makes it remarkable is that it kills exactly one kind of creature. When a mosquito larva, the little wriggling thread that hatches from the egg and lives in the water for about a week before it grows wings, when that larva eats a particle of BTI, its stomach can no longer hold. Within a day, it is gone. It works on the larvae of mosquitoes, black flies, and fungus gnats. It works on nothing else, not on bees, not on butterflies, not on the dragonflies that themselves hunt mosquitoes, not on fish, not on frogs, not on birds, not on your dog if she drinks from the pot. The reason it is so exact is that the stomach of a mosquito larva has a particular chemistry, and the BTI only comes to life inside that one chemistry. A honeybee's insides are entirely different. So are yours. This is not a guess. Governments use BTI to treat marshland. They drop it from aircraft over wetlands where children swim downstream. It is quite simply the safest mosquito control on Earth, and it has been for 40 years. So why does the lawn company not use it? The answer is plain. BTI is cheap, and it is sold over the counter. Once you know about it, you no longer need them. A $17 container lasts one family an entire summer. A monthly spray contract can cost $60, $70, $80 every single visit. You may judge for yourself which one the company would rather you bought. One spoonful in your pot kills every mosquito egg laid there for 2 to 4 weeks. After that, sprinkle in another spoonful. That is the whole of the maintenance. Now let me show you how to make this protect your entire property, because one pot behind one shed will not clear a whole yard. You want at least 3 containers, one on each side of your home, each one placed away from where you rest and where the little ones play. You are drawing the enemy away from your camp. If you have a flower bed where you cannot hide a pot, take a lid, rest it on top like a small roof so the rain cannot dilute the water, but leave a gap so the mosquito can still fly underneath to lay her eggs. For the places you cannot set a pot, a ditch by the road, a low hollow in the ground that holds water after a storm, an old water barrel, they sell the very same bacterium in another form. Small brown rings the boxes call mosquito dunks. You simply toss one in. Each covers a good patch of standing water and lasts about 30 days. I keep a box in my shed and drop one into the rain barrel by my door on the first day of each warm month. And here is the place almost everyone forgets: your gutters. If your gutters hold any leaves or needles, and most do within a year of cleaning, they are holding water. Not much, just enough. Sprinkle a spoonful of mosquito bits straight into the gutter every few weeks through the warm season, and you will shut down what is very likely the single largest mosquito nursery on your whole property. The homeowner never sees it. The mosquito always finds it. Now, before I go further, let me speak of the part you cannot buy in any store: walking your land. Once a week, in the cool of the morning, take an empty can and walk your whole yard, every saucer under every pot, the wheelbarrow leaning on the wall, the old dish, the child's wading pool, the bird bath, the folds in a tarp, the clogged downspout, and if you have old tires anywhere, please be rid of them. A tire is the cruelest little mosquito factory ever made. Tip them all. Turn them over. The people who study these insects call this source reduction, and it is half the battle. You could set out 50 pots of BTI, and it would not help you as much as emptying the 6 small pools hiding around your yard. 5 minutes a week, the mosquito begins in the water. End her there. So, you have walked your land, you have set your pots, you have treated your gutters, the eggs and the larvae are handled. But there is still a problem. There are grown mosquitoes out there now, born last week, looking for blood so they can lay one final batch before they die. They will not read your mind and fly to the pot. They will come and find you on the porch. So we must deal with the grown ones too, and this too is gentle to the bees. For this we use real plant oils: cedarwood, lemongrass, peppermint, clove, rosemary, not perfumes. These are the concentrated oils of plants that people across the world have used to turn away insects for thousands of years, long before they had anything else. You can buy them ready mixed at the hardware store. I will tell you honestly, do not waste your money on the small sprayer that hooks to a hose. It runs out too quickly. Buy instead a simple pump sprayer, the kind you fill and pump by hand and carry on your shoulder. Around $40, and it will outlast you. Fill the tank 3/4 with water. Shake your bottle of oil well, because the oil settles, and pour in the amount the label tells you, usually a few ounces to the tankful. Shake the whole sprayer until the water turns cloudy, like thin milk. Then walk your property and spray. Here is the trick most people get wrong. Do not spray the open air. The oils vanish in moments, and you accomplish nothing. What you spray is the underside of the leaves in your bushes and hedges, the eaves of your porch, the back of the woodpile, the cool shaded pockets where mosquitoes rest through the daylight hours. In the day, the mosquito does not fly about. She rests in the shade, waiting for evening. Spray her resting places, and you reach the whole grown population in one afternoon. But never spray flowers in bloom. The oil will not kill a bee, but it will tell her to stay away, and that is the opposite of what we want. It lasts 2 to 3 weeks, less after heavy rain. Now I must tell you something from my grandmother, because it is part of how we have always done this. On warm evenings when the family sat outside in the cool, she would take an old tin can, punch a few holes in its side, and place inside a small handful of dried herbs from her garden: mugwort, dried citrus peel, a little rosemary. She set one small ember at the bottom and let the herbs smolder. The smoke smelled of the kitchen, of something warm and good, nothing like a chemical, and it kept the mosquitoes out of a small circle around us for as long as it burned. You can do the very same tonight. A little ceramic dish, a charcoal disc from the hardware store, a handful of dried herbs from your own cupboard. And the smoke is gentle. It does not trouble the bees, for they are already home in the hive for the night. The mosquito simply will not come near it. I sat in that smoke as a boy, on my grandmother's step, and I did not know then that I was learning something. To her, it was not a clever trick. It was simply mottainai, the deep belief that we waste nothing, that we do not reach for an expensive thing when a careful, simple thing will do, that we do not poison the whole garden to be rid of one small pest. She would have been ashamed to pay a man every month to do badly what a spoonful of powder and an hour of attention could do well. Let me leave you with the larger picture, because I believe it matters. The mosquito kills more human beings each year than any other creature on this earth. Not the snake, not the shark, the mosquito. She carries sickness into every country. This is no small thing, an itch on the arm. And yet most of your country has been told there is only one answer. Sign the contract. Let the truck come. Let it spray a poison that kills every insect it touches, including the very bees that pollinate the food in your garden. That is not the only way. It is not even the best way. It is simply the way that earns someone money. The whole system I have given you, the pots, the dunks, the oils, the gentle smoke, the weekly walk, costs less than a single month of that service, takes one weekend to set in place, and you may run it yourself for the rest of your days. No contract, no poison, no harm done to the helpers in your garden. This is what mottainai teaches. Not cleverness, care. When you cannot call the truck and cannot pay the fee, you learn what truly works with what is already in your hands. And what we learned over many generations is that the mosquito problem is a water problem, and a water problem can be solved with $17 and an hour of quiet attention. So this weekend, walk your land with a can and tip out every pool. Set 3 dark pots in hidden corners, half full, a handful of leaves, 1 spoonful of bits in each. Drop a dunk in your barrel and your gutters, and if you have time, Take up the pump sprayer and the plant oils and treat the shaded underside of every bush. By next evening you will sit outside in the cool with no mosquito coming for you, your bees still working the flowers, your grandchildren still barefoot in the grass. Tell me in the comments below where you live and what your mosquito season is like this year. I read every one, and I would like to know if you set out a pot. The people of my island already know this works. I am telling it now to those who were never taught, and next time I will show you what my grandmother did to keep flies out of the kitchen through the hottest weeks of summer, with a glass jar, a square of paper, and one thing from the pantry you would never think to use. It worked for 100 years before the sticky paper was ever sold, and it still works better than anything you can buy. Until then, stay cool, stay watchful, and remember that the people who lived close to the land knew things we are only now beginning to remember.